Good morning. Welcome. I am Margaret Hamilton. Oh, I see you've heard of me. Yes, I am the computer scientist who was, how did the New York Times describe me? Instrumental to NASA's efforts to put man on the moon in the 1960s and 70s. Yes, I developed software engineering. Yes, I am a woman. There were actually a lot of us working for NASA during that time, though you don't often hear too much about us. It's also true that I began at MIT as a temp. All I was looking for was a temp job. I was teaching high school math, and then we moved to Boston. I was planning on going to Brandeis University in the fall. Plans. You know, plans are funny things. I mean, we make them all the time, don't we? I mean, today you had a plan for your day. You woke up, you had breakfast, you came to class, and then after this class, you will move on to your next class, and so forth. Plans. Plans are what we have before they're interrupted by problems, aren't they? How many of you have had a plan that was interrupted by a problem? Oh, I thought so. So what happens? What happens when the plan goes wrong? I mean, today if your lunch break doesn't go as planned, you just move on and say, well, that didn't go as planned. But what if you're headed to the moon? What if you're headed to a lifeless rock that is 238,000 miles away from Earth, from your home, and things didn't go as planned? What then? Better yet, how do you fix it? Because in space, in lunar missions, I know of two constants. One, there will always be a problem, because two, nothing will go as planned. We all know the words, Houston, we have a problem. So what do you do when it all goes wrong? And that became my job. My job was to create computer systems in the guidance and control systems for the in-flight command and lunar modules for all of the Apollo missions. The focus was to detect system errors and recover info in the computer cries. I was attracted to the sheer idea and the fact it had never been done before. So I got to work. We wanted to create man-in-the-loop concepts, so we needed the software to interrupt astronauts and replace their normal displays with priority displays to warn them in an emergency. Okay, we wanted the computer to tell the astronauts if there was a problem, if something wasn't going as planned, so the astronauts could solve that problem in real time. And we were working with computers that were, what's the best way to put this? Computers that were as fast as rocks at computing when comparing them to the phone in your pocket right now. It was the 60s. Computers were very new. They were very, very big and very, very slow. And yet, we were using them to put people on the moon. We dreamed big. I hope all of you do as well. I could get into all of the technical things, but since this is the first day of class, I will spare you. What I will tell you is this. In order to be excellent at computer programming or any job, is to learn when things don't go right. Okay? To learn how to move forward when everything is falling apart. When we were creating the software, you couldn't hide from your mistakes. When the computer crashed during the execution of your program, there was no hiding. Okay, lights would be flashing, bells would be ringing, and everyone would come running to find out whose program was doing something bad to the system. And we all came running to learn. And learn we all did, especially on that fateful Apollo 11 mission. You know the one where Neil and Buzz landed on the moon? What a fantastic moment for all of us. But right before they landed, right before they touched down, well, the flashing and the ringing bells all started to go off, and we all rushed to see what program was doing bad things to the system. The space modular holding the lives of 3 men. Everything was going according to plan until something totally unexpected happened. Just as the astronauts were in the process of landing, the computer alarms 1201 and 1202 started going off. Land or not to land. Malfunction. Land or not to land. The astronauts had to decide. In one way, the software was doing its job. It was reporting the problem in real time, but it couldn't figure out what the problem was. That's where the astronauts had to decide. In the end, they decided to land, and we all know the famous words of astronaut Armstrong. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And it was. It was also one giant step for computer engineering. Software engineering. We discovered that the software was informing not only that there was a hardware-related problem, but also the software was compensating for it. Because of that, we were able to launch 5 more successful missions to the moon. Apollo 13, as you know, was not successful in the terms of completing its mission, but it was successful in discovering and solving lots of new problems. Those problems, those moments where things didn't go as planned, allowed the next 4 Apollo missions to be even more successful. Problems lead to new discoveries, new advancements. So, in this new school year, don't be afraid of the problems. Don't run when the alarms start ringing and the lights start flashing. Run towards them. See what's going wrong and fix it. Learn from it. Grow from it. And with that, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.